voluntary basis, which is to say without compensation. Our procedure for conducting business is this. The petitioner for each item will be asked to come forward, state your name for the record, and present his or her request. The board will ask any questions they may have. Then anyone wishing to speak to the proposal will be asked to come forward and voice their opinion. Please come to the podium in the center and adjust the microphone so that it will pick up your voice. All comments made should be about the project presented. This is not a venue to air personal grievances. If you hear the gavel, you are out of order, but if you persist, you'll be removed from the meeting. Once your request is heard and the board's decision is rendered, you may leave the meeting. However, if you have questions for staff, please wait until after the meeting to ask them, or you may contact staff at the office the following day. Once public testimony and discussion for a particular item is concluded, the members of the board will deliberate and render a decision. Members with a personal or financial interest in any project are required to recuse themselves from voting. All decisions by the Architecture Review Board are final. Any person having a request for a certificate of appropriateness denied by the board may appeal such denial to the Montgomery County Circuit Court. Any appeal shall be filed with the Circuit Court within 30 days after the receipt of the notice of the final decision of the board. We have 6 board members tonight. It takes 5 to pass a motion. Because of the number of board members present, you would like to delay your request, please let us know at the time your project is announced. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce members of the Architecture Review Board. We have at the very end, John Hayden, and next to him, John Foshee, Katie Williams, Jake Johnson, and Kalia Bell. Our land use staff is the ever-absent Christy Anderson, whom I offered to have her, meet with FaceTime or something like that so she could be with the meeting, but somehow her vacation seemed more important. But tonight we have Paula Wade and Ethan Fowler and John Tyson. Thank you. All right, first item on the agenda is Suzanne Black. How nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Tell us about your project.
As the picture showed, we've got a lot of drainage coming down the backyard, and it's eroding under the sidewalk, and we need to address that. And it's also damaging the wall where it's. So we would like permission to put some steps to address the main drainage part where the sidewalk ends in back.
Yes.
And then that will be 3 steps down, and then to absorb or to keep it from washing, either putting brick pavers or gravel
With some kind of edge.
in there. Mm-hmm. And then to secure it, to put up, to continue the fence on down. This would be a wrought iron. It would not be a privacy.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't obscure. And this would leave, the way I've got it drawn out, is you would have a place to get the trash can off the street, and it would give some buffer from the street. We have nowhere else to put the trash can.
All right. Any comments from the board? Is there anyone in the audience to speak to this project? Come forward, please.
My name is Jasmine. Ooh, I might not need it. I'm already loud enough as it is. Hi, Ms. Black. How are you? My name is Jasmine Trimble Pugh. I am a longtime Montgomery resident. I actually grew up in the Cottage Hill district. Hi, Jake. I hear you're the president now. And I recently purchased a house that is right next to Mrs. Black's home at 507 Martha Street. I do have a few concerns that unfortunately we're having to address in this venue. The first of which is I completely agree that area does drain, as we can see in the picture, and of course that doesn't help either party, particularly the renter that is currently in that home. And so my concern is that with this, I don't know how that will affect my property. I do essentially own 3/4 of that driveway that we see, and I haven't had the opportunity to do my own surveying or consult with landscape or anybody to address that. The other issue I think that Mrs. Black addressed was the trash can, which actually does currently, there is enough space. They use all the time freely, so I'm not quite sure about that. And the last is, even if there is the pathway that goes there, I'm concerned about, which I really don't see an issue with, the wrought iron fence, basically making that space unusable. So those are my 3 concerns. Obviously deliberate amongst yourselves, but I really hope that you give it grave consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments from the board?
Ms. Black, is this a common driveway or do you own this driveway?
Do what?
Is this driveway your property or is it a common driveway between the 2 houses? Please step up to the podium.
I have a survey.
What does the survey indicate?
It gives the boundaries of You want one?
Well, my concern is your neighbors kind of made some comments that have caused me some concern that this is a shared driveway between the 2. Is that right?
It is partially ours, partially theirs.
So it's not, that she doesn't have an easement on your part of the property or you
No.
on hers? Okay.
So that means it's shared.
No,
Where
it's
does
not
the
shared.
driveway lead to? Where does the driveway lead to in the back? If you were to close that off.
Okay. Can I give you?
Yes, please. Thank you.
And because I only have black and white, the line is right here,
Right.
and this is the driveway. This is the second time we've had it surveyed because somebody dug up our pin.
Somebody dug up what?
The survey pin.
Oh, there's the pin. So the neighbor. Yeah.
Cedric, are you familiar with those?
Yeah.
So from the pictures that you've provided, you seem to indicate that this condition also occurs at like 511 Martha Street. Is that correct? I'm looking at the pictures that you...
She is 511 Martha Street.
She is 511? Okay, so you were showing then a photograph of what it would look like with the...
I don't think she can hear you.
Okay. We have a photograph here showing... Yes.
Oh, that is another fence that my husband made. That is at 501 Martha
Okay.
Street.
Okay.
Okay, that's where I was confused.
And
Here we go.
the other fence is at my house at 644 Martha Street.
The orange dot.
That's the circle
Yes.
That's at my house, 644. And that's at 501 Martha Street.
Okay, got you.
What, are there easements on the property for you, are there easements on the property for
No.
putting
No.
things like that?
I asked that.
You said you had a survey.
Yes.
Do you mind, can I look at the survey, please, ma'am? Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
John's looking at her survey, but you could ask the question.
One quick question. Do you all use that area for anything other than what it looks like in the pictures? Like, do you ever have a car in there? Is there any joint use, like?
We use it for the yard person uses it. He has a big pack and goes down through there and cleans it up.
Okay, so if you put a fence right there, would they be able to still do the same thing that they're doing?
Yes.
No?
There's nothing to mow. There is only blowing and picking up limbs.
Okay. Huh. Do I keep hearing a no?
Yes.
Oh, well, you have to come to the, can they go to the other one? Or do they all need to come to that one? If you want to, you can go to the other microphone. If you need. Okay.
Hi, my name is Joseph Trumbull, and I live directly across the street,
Okay.
which is where she grew up for the past 27 years. And for the past 30 years, the person that she bought it from, Rebecca, who was my neighbor, along with Suzanne and others. And three things. One, the driveway is used as a driveway regularly. And I'm presuming, and I know, they will be using it as a driveway, like it's been used, as Rebecca reported to us, without complaint or issue for the past 30 years that she was a resident there. I spoke with the neighbor across the street, her tenant, and she had no problem with it, said that that was perfectly fine. No neighbor has complained. I like the eye line and view that I see now, the nice house, both the houses. She's renovating the house she just bought. They keep the one that they have, looking fairly nice, and I like looking at that sight line. I would not like to see wrought iron or fence up. It's directly in front of my house. So it is, to your question, it is used as a driveway currently. And she would use it as a driveway as they
Okay,
present.
another question, since you say that it's used as a driveway, could that driveway pad be extended to also help with that drainage issue?
There's not a pad. It's just
I mean, that,
gravel.
whatever that is that's broken up, leading from the street, that's right next to the eroded area.
Well, I don't know, like my daughter said, she hadn't had the time to survey it. Suzanne called me about it early on, and I recommended that she call my daughter and talk to her. Since I asked my daughter, had she called her, and she said she had not. So I guess she didn't take it upon herself to contact the owner, so.
Okay. And
Miss-
so, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Just from the use, you know, whatever the use is, do you, just by looking at it, do you have any options that would somewhat remedy this situation, or have you all offered options and they not been accepted, or like, where are we? Because I feel like we're getting tossed in the middle of something that was already in the process.
That makes two of us. First off, I'm absolutely all about coming up with solutions. I think that's oh, y'all need, okay. I'm all about coming up with solutions. I think that's the Cottage Hill way. I think that's the Montgomery way. So to the extent there is a way for us to come to a solution that works for the both of us, primarily, of course, the drainage issue is a huge concern. I think that's fair of any property owner. Again, like I said, I haven't had the opportunity because I wasn't given the courtesy. And again, I think Mrs. Brown said at the beginning, we're not here to air out personal grievances, so I don't want to belabor that point. But I haven't had the opportunity to do my own due diligence, if you will, to the extent I would like to, in order to come up with those options on my end.
Okay.
Can I ask yeah, go ahead.
Ms. Black, do you use a driveway to get to the back of the house, or do you just park on the street?
Pardon?
Is there a driveway on your property that you use?
No.
So you can't get to the back?
My tenants park on the street, as do 9/10 of the people.
Okay.
I want to make sure I understand. If you were to put a fence on your property line,
Actually, she's in a little more than a foot inside her property line is where this is
Yeah.
drawn.
okay, if you were to put up a fence on your property line, it would prohibit somebody else from parking on your property line that has been happening currently.
Okay, I didn't catch the last.
They are currently using your property to park their cars on.
Correct.
Okay, and you just want to put a fence on on your own property.
Yes.
Okay, I have no problems with that at all.
But my question is, the property line is down the middle of the driveway? Okay. So the driveway is entirely on Miss Black's property?
No.
No, the property line goes through the middle of it.
Well, that was my question. You put a fence up, you're gonna block you're gonna block the entire driveway?
No.
Hang on, ma'am. Does someone currently use this driveway as a parking space? You or the tenant? How long has it been used? Okay.
I do have your same concerns about water issues, because Ms. Black's property does kind of do this towards yours. So that is something to take into consideration, I think.
Ms. Black, is there an issue with the current location of the gate, or is it just the drainage issues? Did you hear that? Is there an issue with the current location of the gate and the fence, or is it just the drainage issues that you're trying to overcome?
The drainage problem is a problem, but then the parking, my property, and it prevents my yard person from getting his equipment to our property. It blocks our gate to the back. So I'm not willing to give up my property so she can park, which could easily be addressed parking on the street as everybody else does.
Ms. Black, how long has she been parking there?
How long?
Well, how long have others been parking there?
Becky Peaton rented it for ever, and from Chick Cleveland, and it was a situation where she wanted to park there, she parked there, and then if we needed re-roofing, anything like that, and we needed to get a truck in there, then we were able to ask her to move with some problem, but she did move. So.
And I'm into that point. I have nothing against that as well. I just haven't had the courtesy.
Any
could've called.
information?
I don't have your number. Your dad has mine. It's not a concern to me. No. But you see how when they park in that area, it's also on our septic lines, which we've had to replace not once, but twice because of just the impact of vehicles on it. And when I explained this to Joseph, he told me that his daughter was a lawyer and she would gladly sue me. That's why I have not had. Lie. You lie.
I think that's,
Madam Chair, I'm not sure how to proceed, but it seems like we have a applicant coming to us asking for a fence on her property line and some hardscape along that as well. So I think I'm taking that in consideration, and I would not have a problem moving forward with her request.
If he continues to park even on a brick driveway, he'll be tearing it up. All I'm asking is to take care of my property.
I'm still at a loss as to the deterioration over 30 years and someone else parking there prior to. How do you justify stopping it now when you didn't stop it for 30 years?
Because the owners have changed.
No, but cars haven't. You know, if you told me that her car was substantially heavier than the other cars from 30 years ago, you might have a point. If you told me something that substantiated a weight difference, but the mere fact that you called her, did I not hear somebody say somebody was a liar? I feel like you're putting us in a very awkward situation. We are here to determine things about architecture. We do not attack people. And I had a serious issue when people come to this venue and you start to attack people. That is not what we do here. I am ready to leave because I'm not going to be a part of that. So I need somebody to say something because otherwise I'm going to have to leave.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not dead sure still where the property line is, but it's between the houses, and it's on this driveway, and you say you own most of the driveway, your neighbor says that you own a portion of the driveway? Yes.
go ahead.
I would propose in the spirit of fairness and in the spirit of resolution, is there, I don't know the procedures, this is actually my first time being in front of a panel like this, but for us to revisit this in 30 days.
Yes.
We can table it.
Yes.
My diligence and possibly leave, and honestly, Mrs. Black, I am not my father. I'm all about negotiation or having a conversation.
Okay.
If we can have that conversation and work it outside of these, this auditorium and these poor people, I would love the opportunity to do so. And if not, then we come back in 30 days and we both have an opportunity to consider doing something.
I think that's an excellent idea.
Are you open to that, Ms. Black? Are you open to that?
Am I willing to do that?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to have approval, we're ready to go on it. And
I think this is something that needs to be tabled for 30 days so your property, adjacent property owner has due diligence. So, I mean, I understand you're ready to go on it. There's lots of people ready to go on things. Guess what? Sometimes it doesn't happen. So I think it's best to do due diligence on both parties and talk to each other as a neighbor does. Because this is, again, it sounds like something else going on other than just property lines. So
Ms. William, are you putting that in a motion?
I would like to put in a motion to table this for 30 days to allow due diligence to occur between the two owners.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? All right. We'll see you at the next meeting.
Thank you.
It's down that way.
I apologize, I scribbled on it, I think.
What?
If I need to obtain another one, I'll be glad to.
All right, CJ Brennan, Davis Architects, new signage at 608 North Court Street.
Hello. CJ Brennan, Davis Architects.
You know you're going to have to come and give us a tour of this when you get through with it.
Absolutely. Yes. So y'all want to talk pictures. All right, great. So this is the old Waterworks building, and what we are proposing, the owner would like to cover up the existing Waterworks sign on the building. Our thought is to put a pre-finished aluminum sign, just enough to cover the existing lettering with Legacy Hall for EJI, match the terracotta color, and use four small industrial lights to light from above. So the letters would be applied to the sign 1 or 2 inches, and also the same color as the terracotta, so hopefully it just blends in during the day, and at night just lit enough so that they can see the name of the building.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience to speak to this project? Comments from the board?
You said the lighting is going to be below and shine up on the...
It's actually on top, and I did bring, I didn't know, this is the first time I've had to do this, so I brought what we were proposing for the lighting, if you'd like to see.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So is that the 4 items I see above the sign? Okay. And that's
That's
the
the right
4
answer.
items I see above the sign? Okay. All right, I'm good. I'm with you.
Okay. Are there any other comments?
How do you plan to mount the signage to the
So
wall?
we love to use concealed fasteners where we don't see that, and,
Sure.
and also try not to limit the damage to the existing terracotta.
Is
Okay.
it a big piece, or is that frieze a big piece, or is it separate tiles that are put together to make that frieze?
It looks monolithic.
Okay.
It does, and it does have more intricate patterns. This is our drawing.
Right.
The old terracotta is incredibly hard to copy and draw in. So I did add a photo of a historical photo
Yeah.
in the packet. It shows it a little better.
Madam Chair, I move to approve as presented.
Second.
Great project.
All in favor? Opposed? All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good. The next project, Mr. Noah Cox, 538 East Fairview Avenue.
How y'all doing?
Wonderful, how are you?
Doing well. All right, I'm representing the owner, Doug Murkai. He's in California. He lives in California right now, so I'm representing him. Pretty much what I'm proposing is a parking pad to go on the left side of the driveway. As you can see, I neglected to ask permission for that, and I apologize for that. I respect what all this committee does, and I hope that that doesn't bring any problems in the future. But so the reason why I did that is because when you're driving out of the driveway, you have to back up. And when you're backing up, there's bushes on the right side that cause you to have to twist your head all the way back and try not to get hit by oncoming traffic. With this, you'd be able to back out and you'd be able to actually pull out instead of having to back out and into oncoming traffic. So that was the reason for that. I'm also proposing the current driveway is unsafe. It has potholes in it, it's cracked. My proposal says to spread crushed slag down that driveway, and it will fill up the potholes and fix a safety issue with that. So pretty much 2 safety issues that I would like to do is, of course, make it easier to back out for any possible buyer, and to, again, pour crushed slag down it to fill any potholes and make it look a lot better than what it was. The parking pad right now would be that is 24 by 16. That's enough for 2 cars to get in and out. And I hope that if there's any questions, we have to answer them.
Mr. Cox, I haven't been in the back of this building in a long time. I haven't seen it.
Yes,
My
sir.
property, I live on Maston Lane, so the backyard and part of my backyard meet. I knew there was a lot going on. I had a privacy fence installed, didn't realize the extent. I don't have a problem with the driveway. That parking pad looks terrible, in my
Yes, sir.
opinion.
Yes, sir.
I don't know any other way to put it. I mean, I've lived in my home for 20 years. I don't know if anybody's, and I know that house has been occupied most of that time. I know it's not occupied now. I don't know if anyone's ever had a problem getting out of the driveway. Is there not any way to adjust the driveway? I mean, the driveway goes to the back, and that's where people have been parking for a very long time.
Yes, sir.
Can they not turn their car around in the back or adjust the back parking pad so that they could turn around and drive straight out of the driveway onto Fairview?
There's a possibility, but the problem that we had was if you have more than one car in there, you're not able to really turn around. Everybody would have to back out if you have more than 2 cars in there so that you can get one person out. So this would allow, if you have, more than one car, you'd be able to get somebody if they had to leave, to be able to pull out and park on the side. I agree that the parking pad does not look that good. Also on my proposal, it has put boxwoods in front of the parking pad to conceal it from any cars and to conceal it from the road.
Well, Ms. Anderson's not here. She has left some notes and some thoughts, and one is the parking pad is bigger than what is normally approved.
Yes, sir.
I think she indicated 20 by 20 would be the normal parking pad. I understand there are a lot of other projects or things you're doing at this home that have not, that you were going to, or your owner was going to provide some sort of renderings or a site plan that hasn't been provided just yet?
Well, yes, sir. I know that The rock in the back that you see on the picture there, there's already slag down, or old rock, but it had eroded away, and it had just stamped down over the years from cars driving over it. So we did add slag to the back, as you can see. And the pool, also, it was, I had Fender Pool Company come and look at it, and that big tree right there, the roots had grown into the pool and caused cracks in it, and it was pretty much it was unfixable, is from what I was told by the pool company. That caused us to fill that pool in and make it into a garden and a fire pit area. And that was the best option that we saw to move forward with that.
As far as the driveway is concerned, are you proposing to take up the concrete driveway and put slag down instead?
No, ma'am. We would put it on top of the old driveway, the existing driveway, because the boxwoods, there's huge boxwoods on the right side of that driveway, and it would, if we dug that up, it would damage the boxwoods.
Okay.
We'd pretty much have to take some of those up in order to do that.
Since the driveway slopes all the way to the street, that's just like providing a highway for the gravel to wash down the driveway and go into the gutter and into the street. So I don't think that's a reasonable or an effective way to deal with the fact that I see it has a lot of cracks and potholes in it.
Yes, ma'am. What I usually do when I put down a slag driveway is I put mix a little bit of concrete in it. So every few feet you put concrete as you go. That way that slag doesn't run down like you're saying with erosion. It does happen. But with the concrete, it'll all bind together, and as you keep going, it will all stick and prevent that kind of erosion.
Okay. That's not indicated in your
Yes, ma'am. I apologize
proposal.
for that.
Can I make a proposal? I understand, Mr. Cox, you've got a lot going on out there, but again, according to Ms. Anderson, there's been a lot of changes, none of which have been brought to the board's attention. Is there any way, would you have any objection to getting all of the site plan, get it down, get it to Ms. Anderson so that we can review everything next month instead of trying to piecemeal this thing together?
I'd have to speak to the owner about that, but I could get you everything that I have if you'd like.
Well, I understand, the driveway, we have the one drawing, but again, a lot's been going on in the back. So I don't know what the other members of the board feel about it, but.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this going to be residential use, or because from my opinion, this is just a lot to deal with parking, so it just seems like you all are anticipating a lot more traffic than just typical residential. Is it a large family that lives here, or are there other plans for this particular property?
Yes, ma'am. So I do want to clarify that. This house was bought by Doug, and this is going to be for residential use. It is currently on the market, so it is not going to be used as some kind of party house or anything.
Well, I didn't think party house,
yes,
but
ma'am,
like
Multifamily,
Airbnb,
yeah.
multifamily, anything that would be different from just a single family use.
No, ma'am. It's going to be a single-family house. Currently, it's just on the market, so it's, whoever did that, he wanted to make it as easy as possible for a potential owner to get out of the house and not have any worries about backing out. This was the reason for that.
And I can understand that. Again, I've lived the one street over for over 20 years, and me and my wife have been backing out for over 20 years.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I wish I could do something, but my yard is not near as big as this. It's about one of the biggest yards in the neighborhood.
It is a huge yard.
It is nice. But again, my concern is and I understand the owner wants to get this in a shape so that, offers can come in and hopefully make a deal, make a money.
Yes, sir.
And nothing wrong with that. I would like to see everything that the owner wants to do all at once. That way the members of the community can look at it, we can look at it, because we get these a couple of weeks ahead of time so that we can look.
Yes, sir.
So I would propose I would move, if it's all right, if you agree, that we postpone this until our June meeting, which is,
In June.
it's the fourth Thursday in June, whichever. Tuesday, ma'am?
Tuesday, fourth Tuesday.
June
Fourth
28th.
Tuesday. What did I say? The fourth what?
Thursday, you said Thursday.
I was wrong.
28th.
June
28th,
28th is
thank
the
you.
meeting, and the deadline would be June 6th.
If you could get everything to Paula or Christie by June 6th, if you come to us, the Neighborhood Association, Cloverdale Idlewild is fairly active. I'm sure they're going to want to look at it. They have some comments. So, that's my proposal. Mr. Cox, is that a problem? You have any problem with that?
Charlie, did you have a comment?
John, yeah, you have to take audience input.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So if I could, I'd be happy to do that. I actually had to speak with the owner about that. And the biggest problem is just to get the driveway itself approved or have any say on it. If you, of course, I know you're saying you want it all together, just so that everyone can agree to it. But at this point, it is, becoming a point of contention. I've sent everything for the driveway and the parking pad. That's kind of why I came today, is to get a vote on the driveway and parking pad, if possible.
Can we have comments from the audience, please? Mr. Cobbin, do you have on shorts today?
Yes, ma'am, I'm properly dressed.
I just wanted to make sure.
It's not freezing outside. Charlie's in shorts.
My name is Charlie Colvin. I'm the representative from the Cloverdale Idlewild Association. This is a side note about the property, but it is a Frank Lockwood house, and as such, it has a special place. And so we feel that a couple of things. First, it is zoned R75S, and the staff position, which we fully support, was that if this had come before the board before the work was done, it would have had a hard time getting passed. And of course, we would have opposed it in its current state. The idea of leaving a parking pad in the front is, in our view, totally unnecessary. You can drive down a driveway into the back. A skilled 18-wheeler driver could turn that around back there and get it out. They'd have to park 6 to 8 cars back there before you'd even have to maneuver in order to turn around and come out the driveway so that you enter Fairview face first. So we would oppose any kind of a parking pad in the front. And the CIA position is simply to deny the petition as it stands and have the owner put the property back the front of the property. We don't have a problem with the gravel in the back, and if we take the urban forester's view, it might be better to not redo that again and not mess it up. So that's fine. But as far as CIA is concerned, that front view from Fairview should simply be replaced and returned to its original state.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My feeling would be that,
Ms. Brown, there's someone else to
yes?
speak.
Oh, I'm
Someone
sorry.
else to speak.
Come forward.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Rick McKenzie. I live at 528 East Fairview Avenue. And just, I want to reiterate what Charlie has said. It's our position. We noticed the work that was being done on a Saturday, went over, confronted the people that were working there, told them they needed to stop, get approval by the Architectural Review Board before they proceeded. They continued to do the work. When I noticed that they were digging up the front yard and bringing in gravel, I then got the number for, I guess it was Mr. Cox, and called him and told him it needed to stop. And of course, he didn't do that, indicating he needed to at least put the gravel down so it would not erode into the street, which it did. And of course, the pictures that are being shown are different than what was initially laid down. Initially, it was a much larger gravel turnaround spot that was put out there. So it has changed considerably since then, but you still have a good bit of topsoil that was removed, almost 3 to 4 inches of topsoil that was removed. And all that's been done is just some grass put down and some pine straw on top of that. And if what was indicated about the gravel coming out into the street, that has happened since the project was done. So we feel like Charlie has indicated that this needs to be put back like it was before. The integrity of the house needs to be restored. And we also feel, having lived next door to the house for almost 30 years, that there's plenty of room to turn around in the back.
One other question, just because you live in the area and you're familiar, is there another driveway that has crushed gravel? Crushed gravel driveway in your area? In your
Not
neighborhood?
in that part. I think there's a reference to a house next to Cloverdale Baptist Church that has a concrete pad, and I think a little gravel area beside it. I think that's Keith Sable's house.
Okay.
And which I think they came in front of y'all for approval as far as that was
And his lot
concerned.
is like 3 times the width of this lot we're talking about. Because his is like 3 lots wide.
Right,
So-
much larger, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I asked that question just because I know that there's a typical look when you go down the street, and that this particular option looks a little atypical to me. So I just wanted to know if there
Yeah,
were.
and my recollection is this house is a Frank Lockwood house, I think. So there's a lot of history associated with it. I think it was built in the 20s. We feel like it needs to maintain the integrity associated with the street, the historic nature of the neighborhood. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So can I make a comment?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have a problem with a parking pad. This is a gracious house. If you have visitors, you don't want them parking in the the backyard to come back to the front.
Or walking a half
However,
mile from the street.
or, they can't park on this street. I mean,
No,
it's Fairview.
it's true.
But, and there's several nice examples of parking drives or paveways, on Fairview. I mean, if you look and find a precedent to look at. However, the way this one's articulated does not have the finesse that we would anticipate for this street.
Yes, ma'am.
I think, the landscape needs to be refined, the size and scope of it needs to be refined. I do not think gravel on Fairview is the way to go. I mean, it's got a big apron, it looks like, coming in of concrete. The city's just gonna go after you if you have gravel all over the place,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
would think. So that's, the gravel down the major portion looks to me like it'd be an issue, but it needs a little, I think, design and finesse to create something that is in harmony with with the surroundings rather than not working with it so much. It just looks like it was, scraped and put down.
Yes, ma'am.
There's
If I may-
several nicer examples that you could look at as a good precedent in terms of putting landscaping and maybe not going all the way to the walkway, but leaving a little bit of landscaping there by the walkway, to create a nicer environment. But if it was my house, I don't think I'd want people to cut like the post office guy to come and go all the way in my backyard and back to deliver my Amazon package,
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't think it's out of the question to ask for a parking pad, but this is not the right solution. It needs more work, more design, more
Yes, ma'am.
landscape.
If I may, so whenever we were doing that, I'd like to apologize to the Oak Cloverdale community as well. I'm sorry about that. But so we were told to stop work before I could really put the boxwoods in and really do what I wanted to do. That's why it looks horrible, like Mr. Hayden said. So with what I proposed, I would refine it. I would take the cross ties out, and I would put stone down as a border, and also, like I said, the boxwoods would go down there. There's also there are many parking pads on Fairview. If you drive down it, I mean, I could only see a handful that didn't have a parking pad or have a loop going around it. So that is, like you said, it does need to be refined more, and I do plan to do so.
So I think maybe this, like the first one, maybe needs to be shelved for 1 month, push it back a month, allow you to get a design, and I think you should also take it to the CIA, the Cloverdale group, before coming back here, so everybody has a chance to review it and determine next steps.
Okay.
You need to come back with a well-developed plan that includes everything that you've talked about, not just, oh, here's how I'm going to do the driveway, rather than, because I had no idea that you weren't just pouring slag on top of the concrete there. But you need to lay all that out so that it needs to be a developed schematic before we can look at it and really make a good decision.
And I think
we make a lot of decisions on the basis of what people tell us in front of us without seeing it on paper, and sometimes that doesn't turn out too well. And we want it to turn out well for you and for us too.
I do as well.
And I think the extents of the work done in the backyard need to be shown as well. That it's a little hard to see from the pictures what all has been done in terms of the gravel and the extents of the gravel, what was there previously versus what's there now. So I think front yard and backyard needs to be shown on that schematic.
If I could suggest, Mr. Cox, concerning the driveway, if you drive into Cloverdale Idlewild, even into Old Cloverdale, which is also a historic district, and look at some of the, yes, there are some parking in the front. A lot of the parking pads you see may be in multi-unit dwellings. I mean, they're there, and some are grandfathered in. I think CIA has been a historic district, Charlie, since 1999, 2000. So, I mean, it's relatively new. And I mean, I'd like to see this turn out nice because, like I said, this is adjacent to my house. If it goes for a nice price.
Yes, sir.
In a few years when I retire, my wife wants to move to the beach. If I have to sell my house, maybe that would help me. So, not to say that I have a financial interest in this, and I should have. I'm not saying that. I'm hoping also play lottery once in a while. I'd like to hit that, and if I did, y'all see me going to the beach again. But in any event, are we ready for a motion now?
We are.
Okay. I move that we table voting on the petition to give Mr. Cox and his employer, the owner, an opportunity to get everything on writing, site plan for the entire project at 538 East Cloverdale Avenue for presentation at the next CIA meeting.
John, you need to say,
ARB meeting. It's been a long day.
can you please specify a timeline for him to come back since this is a violation?
Well, if you're going to bring it back before the board, he needs to have everything turned into you probably by
June 6th.
June 6th, and if he can't meet that, then delay it for up to 60 days to give him until July.
Okay. If you can't get everything together, I know your owner's in California, your boss, so by that date for the June meeting, otherwise 60 days for the next meeting.
Second that motion.
All in favor? Opposed? We'll see you again. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all.
Madam, I move to approve the wonderful minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Minutes are approved. And meeting is adjourned.